Welcome to Across the Pitch. And oh my word, do we have some juicy stories to kick off 2025? Buckle up, because between the title race drama, managerial meltdowns, and some seriously questionable decision making, this episode is absolutely packed. Let's start with Arsenal, who clearly didn't get the memo about January being a time for post holiday blues. The Gunners strutted into Brentford and snatched a 3-1 victory that has Liverpool looking nervously over their shoulders. Now sitting just 6 points off the top, Arsenal are doing that thing again, where they make us all wonder if this might actually be their year. And speaking of tactical masterclasses, let's break down exactly how Arsenal turned this game around. After a shaky first 30 minutes where they struggled, Arteta made some brilliant adjustments. The press became more aggressive, the defensive line pushed higher, and suddenly Brentford couldn't string two passes together. Gabriel Jesus' equalizer wasn't just a goal, it was a complete momentum shift. Let's talk numbers, because they tell a fascinating story. Arsenal's expected goals XG in the first half was a measly 0.45, but they exploded to 1.87 in the second half. Their pass completion rate in the final third jumped from 67% to 78%. Brentford, meanwhile, managed just 2 shots on target after the break. Talk about a tale of two halves. And can we talk about Mikel Arteta's bold lineup choices? The man left Kai Havertz on the bench, the £65 million signing, and instead gave 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri his first Premier League start. The audacity. But here's the thing. It worked brilliantly. Nwaneri played like he's been doing this for years, serving up delicious set pieces and making senior pros look ordinary. Speaking of looking ordinary, David Raya. Honey, what was that performance? Playing at his old stomping ground, Arsenal's keeper had the kind of first half that makes goalkeeping coaches need a lie down. Fumbling shots, misplaced passes, and leaving his near post more exposed than a celebrity's private social media account. He got away with it, but only just. But we simply must discuss Arsenal's set-piece prowess because it's becoming ridiculous. 9 goals from corners this season? Nicholas Jover, their set-piece coach, deserves a raise, a bonus, and probably a statue at this point. The tactical setup is masterful. Coordinated movements, precise timing, and defenders looking absolutely helpless every time the ball comes in. Gabriel's become such a threat from these situations that opponents might as well start saying their prayers when he heads toward the box. Now, let's shift to the absolute chaos unfolding at Manchester United. Ruben Amorim. What have you gotten yourself into? When the Portuguese tactician suggested United might be in a relegation battle, you could hear the collective gasp from Manchester to Melbourne. But let's look at these numbers because they're genuinely shocking. 7 points from 24 available under Amorim. 3 consecutive home league losses for the first time since 1979. 6 defeats in December alone, a feat they hadn't managed since 1962. Somewhere, Sir Alex Ferguson is probably watching this through his fingers. Teams' performances have been so poor that even the statisticians at Opta are struggling to make sense of it. They're giving United a 0.1% chance of relegation. But at this point, who's really counting? But wait, it gets better. The defensive record is particularly special. 18 goals conceded in December. That's not a typo, folks. 18 goals. The last time United's defense was this generous, the Beatles were still together. The team seems caught between trying to play Amorim's high-pressing style and remembering how to defend basic crosses. Spoiler alert, they're not succeeding at either. The tactical confusion is evident in every match. Players look lost in transition. The midfield seems permanently disconnected from both attack and defense. And the pressing triggers are about as coordinated as a flash mob where nobody learned the choreography. The high defensive line is particularly problematic. United have been caught out more times than a teenager sneaking in after curfew. When you dig into the numbers, it gets even more fascinating. United's passes allowed per defensive action has skyrocketed under Amorim, showing a complete breakdown in their pressing structure. Their progressive passing numbers have plummeted, and their shot-creating actions have dropped by nearly 30%. Even basic defensive metrics like aerial duels won and successful tackles have nosedived. It's like watching a masterclass in how not to implement a new system. Moving on to Plymouth, because apparently one managerial disaster story isn't enough for today. Wayne Rooney's stint as manager has ended after a whopping 7 months. The highlight reel of his tenure would be shorter than a TikTok video. 4 wins from 23 championship matches, 0 away wins, 3 goals scored on the road while conceding 35. These aren't statistics, they're a cry for help. The fascinating part is that everyone at Plymouth actually liked Rooney. The players loved him, the fans adored him, and he was apparently a delight to work with. Unfortunately, being everyone's favorite pub buddy doesn't win you football matches. His tactical approach was admirable, trying to implement a possession-based style with inverted fullbacks and build-up play from the back. But in the championship, sometimes you just need to kick the ball very hard toward the goal and hope for the best. Let's hop over to Barcelona, because heaven forbid we go a week without some drama from Catalonia. The club is in another registration mess, with Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, proving that some things truly never change. La Liga claims Barcelona haven't presented any viable alternatives that comply with their economic rules, while Barcelona insists they've already applied for new licenses. It's like watching the same movie for the 10th time, except this version cost £47 million and features a Euro 2024 winner. The situation gets even more interesting when you look at the financial implications. Olmo's temporary registration was a creative piece of accounting that would make an accountant need a lie down. Barcelona essentially gambled on being able to comply with La Liga's financial fair play rules by the January window. But surprise, surprise, they're still juggling the books like a circus act. The most fascinating part? Olmo's agent, Andy Berra, is insisting his client is committed to staying at Barcelona. That's great and all, but commitment doesn't register players. The club's wage bill remains astronomically high, their revenue projections are optimistic at best, and their financial levers are starting to look more like desperate pulls on a slot machine. If this saga isn't resolved soon, it could lead to a January transfer window soap opera that rivals anything we've seen in recent years. Now for something genuinely serious. West Ham's Michail Antonio has shared a powerful message following his car accident. The striker, who was discharged from the hospital after surgery on a lower limb fracture, expressed profound gratitude for simply being alive. His social media post was heartfelt, thanking the NHS and emergency services for their quick response. The club has also stepped up, donating nearly £60,000 to NHS charities and Air Ambulances UK. But because the football gods apparently have it in for West Ham, they've now lost Jared Bowen to a fractured foot as well. Their attack is looking seriously depleted, and manager Julen Lopetegui must be wondering what he did in a past life to deserve this kind of luck. Bowen had been in fantastic form too, with 5 goals and 4 assists this season. Antonio's injury, coinciding with Bowen's fracture, has left their attack completely decimated. Let's look at the numbers. Between them, they've contributed to 47% of West Ham's goals this season. Their pressing stats are even more telling. The team's passes per defensive action in the final third drops by almost 40% when neither player is on the pitch. Manager Julen Lopetegui now faces some serious tactical decisions. The obvious solution would be to promote Danny Ings to the starting lineup, but his scoring record this season has been about as impressive as a chocolate fireguard. The alternative? Potentially shifting to a false 9 system, though that would require a complete restructuring of their attacking patterns. The injuries have also exposed West Ham's recruitment strategy. Despite spending over £120 million in the summer, they're now desperately short of attacking options. Mohamed Kudus has shown flashes of brilliance, but asking him to shoulder the entire attacking burden is like asking a cat to fetch. Technically possible, but not ideal. Over at Wolves, Matheus Cunha has managed to get himself banned for 2 matches after an incident that sounds more like a plot point from a bad reality show, elbowing an Ipswich security staff member, snatching his glasses. Really? The FA responded with a 2-match ban and an £80,000 fine, which seems rather lenient for what essentially amounts to assault and theft of eyewear. But the biggest news of the week? Thomas Tuchel is officially the New England manager, and he's not here to make friends. The German has made it crystal clear, it's World Cup glory or nothing. No pressure then, Thomas. Just the hopes and dreams of an entire nation resting on your tactical notebooks. Let's dissect what this appointment really means for English football. First off, Tuchel's track record is impressive. Champions League success with Chelsea, multiple domestic titles, and a reputation for tactical flexibility that makes other managers jealous. But international football is a different beast entirely, and Tuchel knows it. He's already emphasized how crucial those 2 or 3 days before matches will be. That's basically a long weekend to implement systems that usually take months to perfect. The selection dilemmas he faces are absolutely fascinating. Take the midfield conundrum. Bellingham is obviously undroppable after his meteoric rise, but then what? Rice has been imperious for Arsenal. Phillips can't get a game at City. Henderson is in the Netherlands, and suddenly Cole Palmer is playing like he's possessed by the ghost of Kevin De Bruyne. Good luck sorting that one out, Thomas. Then there's the defensive setup. The Ben White situation needs addressing. Here's a player who's been outstanding for Arsenal, but hasn't played for England since leaving the World Cup squad in Qatar. Eric Dier, currently sitting on 49 caps, has history with Tuchel from their Bayern Munich days. Could we see a surprise recall? And what about the fullback positions, where England have more options than a restaurant menu? The March fixtures against Albania and Latvia at home give Tuchel a perfect opportunity to start implementing his ideas. The fact that both games are at home is crucial. No travel complications, maximum training time, and a chance to see how players respond to his methods in a relatively pressure-free environment. The timing of his appointment is particularly intriguing. He's got 7 international windows before the World Cup. That's less time than he usually gets before being sacked from his club jobs, as he joked in his press conference. But those 7 windows need to transform England from nearly men into winners. After the heartbreak of Euro 2024, anything less than serious progress will be seen as failure. Looking ahead, we've got some fascinating storylines developing. Arsenal need to maintain their momentum if they want to catch Liverpool. Manchester United, well, they just need to remember how to play football. And England fans will be watching eagerly to see if Tuchel can be the one to finally bring football home. That's all for today's roundup, folks. From tactical masterclasses to managerial mayhem, from registration nightmares to international intrigue, we've covered it all. Keep watching this space, because if there's one thing we know about football, it's that there's always another drama just around the corner. Across the pitch, over and out.